Yesterday, we covered Tucker Carlson potentially running for president in 2028. This is, after all, a news channel, and we cover the current events, but also the future of the country. And if Tucker ran as an independent for president and created some type of, independent party that ran against Kamala Harris and J.D. Vance with Thomas Massey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, some disaffected Democrats. Hunter Biden is indistinguishable from the talking points that Marjorie Taylor Greene is using, and Ilhan Omar is saying she wants Marjorie Taylor Greene in the Democrat Party. So it's like, what's going on? What's happening here? And we're trying to lay out the landscape of what that would look like, and it'd be insane and something we haven't seen in at least a millennia in this country, and not since Teddy Roosevelt has there really been like a truly viable third party. And the system's designed in order to crush third parties. And so when Tucker Carlson said, I'm out, and he left the GOP, which he did in a clip that went viral yesterday, he was doing an interview and he says, I'm not in the GOP anymore. There's no way that I could possibly support the Republican Party. And I've been a Republican, I've worked at Fox News, and now I'm not going to do it. And we brought you the polling that shows that Tucker Carlson's actually polling at like 6%. 7%. There you go. 7.6% for president. And that's kind of interesting that Tucker is rising and that he's number 3, actually. J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio are obviously quite clearly ahead. And Tucker Carlson's very close friends with J.D. Vance. And I'm sure he knows Marco Rubio. And so, very interesting stuff is going on. And we saw an announcement from Alex Jones today that Tucker Carlson would be joining him and that he's going to break huge news. Well, what's this going to be? Alex Jones is one of those who are in the camp of like the disaffected, right, in the Trump coalition. And he's publicly gone after Trump and bashed Trump. And so is Tucker, so is MTG. So maybe this will be the announcement of the third party. Tucker Carlson will be joining me live on air today, says Alex Jones. And he's going to break huge news. Well, what is that news? Tucker Carlson was asked directly by Alex Jones if he's going to run for president. And his answer, or if he didn't run for president, who would he support for president? And his answer did make a lot of news. And his rationale and reasoning also is something that is drawing great critiques online. Here it is.
You hate D.C. No, you love Florida. You love Maine. Been to both places. Beautiful. I don't blame you. But a lot of Republicans have claimed, look at him in Polymarket. He's like the third most popular person, not even announcing. Do you want to put the rumors to bed here? You're not planning to run for president, or are you?
Of course I'm not planning to run for president. Of course. I've never said or done anything that would suggest I have an interest in political office, because I don't. I never have had an interest in political office. Ever. It's just not kind of what I do for a living. It's not what I'm interested in. I really don't like politicians. One of the things I regret, and I've always liked Trump, I'll just say personally, I don't know why, because he's hilarious. Maybe
he's funny, yeah.
And there are a couple other, he's very funny. There are a couple others I like.
Well, will you support J.D. Vance? I think he's great compared to Rubio.
Obviously, he's great compared to Rubio. Obviously. Look, I'll support the best person. I always have liked J.D. Vance enormously. I think he's really smart. He's in an impossible situation. I think he's doing his best. I strongly disapprove of, obviously, as I've said 100 times, of this war and of what.
I love how Trump and others have been blaming Vance when he's volunteering to go stop it, when internally it's confirmed he tried to stop it just like you did. I love how the guy that was right, he's the bad guy now and the war's his fault.
It's the people who tell the truth who are punished. It's the people who try to do for selfless motives the right thing who are punished. That's what evil is. But anyway, a system that consistently punishes people for telling the truth rather than lying, consistently punishes the virtuous and lets Jeffrey Epstein skate. By definition, that's an evil system. And so I would say the upside of this moment is clearly the current system is going away. Obviously, it doesn't work and everyone hates it. So we're getting a new system of some kind. I hope it's not too radical. Hope people don't get hurt during the transition, but it's going to happen. And I don't mourn that, because this is not working. This is not working. Any system that produces like Pete Buttigieg as a presidential candidate and the Iran war, like that's not a system that is going to govern my grandkids.
Well, you
said
said God would have to appear to you for you to run to president. So should we all pray that Jesus appear to you and tell you to run for president?
Oh, I don't want to run for president. I do want to be involved in offering an option of some kind. I don't know what that would look like, but it's not democracy when no matter who you vote for, you get the same result.
Tucker, you'd beat Gavin Newsom. You know you'd beat Marco Rubio. You need to run for president. It's just like a gladiator.
If the options are Gavin Newsom and Marco Rubio, I don't think. I know Trump is very convinced that Gavin has a shot, and Gavin has an advantage in that he's a sociopath who will say anything while passing a lie detector
and he
test.
can talk, unlike Kamala.
Oh, he can talk. Oh, he can talk. And by the way, Marco is an underrated talker. He's an excellent talker.
Oh yeah,
speaks without notes. But both of those guys, come on, is that really the option? If that's the option, then again, it's more evidence that the system is not. Last thing I'll say is the core problem that this country faces is not that it has elites. Every country does and needs them, by the way. Someone needs to run things. It's that the system that we have in place to produce elites produces instead mediocre conformists, wholly lacking creativity, terrified, weird,
stagnant,
easy to control. Stagnant. It is not producing impressive people. And every empire is the same in this one regard. When its system fails to produce a leadership class capable of running this huge thing that the ancestors built, then it collapses. And so we need to fix that, immediately. And the first thing to do is stop discriminating against white men. They built all of this in the first place. They have a pretty good track record. So knock it off. Give them a fair shot.
Finally,
so the news here is that Tucker Carlson still wishes to support his friend J.D. Vance for president. He says that J.D. Vance opposed the war in Iran. He says pretty definitively that he doesn't plan on running for president, but he wants to create another option, is what he says. That's the exact words. So what does that mean? That he wants to create another option? Does that? Of course it does. By definition, leave open the option for a third party run. But Tucker, I think, makes it quite clear definitively that he doesn't want to run for president. Tucker running for president is something that has been floated many times from various people, various corners of the internet. Alex Jones asking directly if Tucker wants to be president, and Tucker says no. He says that Vance is obviously great compared to Rubio. I've always liked J.D. Vance. I think he's really smart. And I want to create another option, says Tucker Carlson. Okay. Well, that answers that. What about other critiques of the Trump administration? And Tucker Carlson says that he is having this crash out with the Trump administration because he doesn't believe that they've done enough to combat anti-white racism. Here we go.
Well, I know you fought really hard, and I disagree with something you said about 6 months ago. You said, I apologize for supporting Trump. The first time, he was way better and did a lot of things. We didn't have a bunch of big new wars. The second time, he was a rebel. They came after him. He got a lot of good things done. But about 4 or 5 months into the new administration, he changed. So you weren't wrong. I wasn't wrong. Starting with the Epstein, then shutting down Doge, and then everything else, these wars. Bovino tried to be nice about it, but he's gone public. Trump killed internal enforcement of immigration and basically put former Democrats from Biden are now being put in to control it. They're even weakening actual border security. Now that's confirmed. And Bovino told me during the break, and later it came out, no, he said on Fox a month later, no, Trump ordered this. So something changed. I know you were talking to him all the time then. The times I've been at your house, hey, I got to go, Trump's calling. He really cared about what you said. He cared about what the founder of TPUSA said, what Charlie Kirk said, but something then changed 5-6 months in. Do you know what that was?
I don't, but I just want to I want to put an issue out there that I think is of central importance. It's never mentioned, and that's the racism against whites, the institutional racism against whites in the United States, where if you're a white man, it's harder to get a job, a federal contract, or college admission. And that's factually true. It's proven. Not just statistically proven by disparate impact, but proven by document requests delivered in lawsuits. So we know for a fact this is happening. And DOJ has done basically nothing to fix it. And so that's like a core question. Can the U.S. government, can our biggest institutions commit open racism against the people whose ancestors built this country? And yes, they can. It's one of the main reasons people supported Trump. It's one of the main reasons I supported Trump. Not because I'm like a white nationalist. I'm not.
It's discrimination.
Because I don't believe in institutional racism against,
and for those that don't know,
whose country it is. I mean,
major universities are still saying no white men apply even with high grades. Major companies are still doing it. During the Biden, 94% of hires were not white men. I mean, there is a war on white men. Everybody sees it. And thank God. I know you've got to go in a few minutes, but I've got to ask this question. And I believe you when you say it. I know you hate D.C. I know you love.
Many people commenting that actually Donald Trump, more than any president, maybe in American history, because this hasn't actually been a problem, because the vast majority of people were white in our country, so there really wasn't any like anti-white racism, because you had like a 90% or more white nation or European descent nation. But Donald Trump has actually ended federal DEI and has ended some of the sick hiring practices and has gone after institutions like Harvard, who hire on the basis of race and have I mean, we regularly have on our show Harmy Dillon, who does, I think, excellent work with Civil Rights Division, who's like constantly suing people on behalf of discrimination against whites. Could everyone do better? Yeah, I guess. But to say he hasn't done anything, I think it's wrong. The Trump administration has done more to fight anti-white discrimination than any administration in 70 years. Tucker is in dissent. Okay. Trying to undermine people solving problems. And I guess everyone could do better. But, I mean, the way that we read it, there's like the untenable argument is this, that Kamala Harris would have been better. No, Kamala Harris would have kept our borders open in order to open them even further. That alone is an act of anti-white racism that is an obscenity to our nation, that the third world will come here and get welfare forever, all of them. I mean, there's nothing worse than that, and we all have to work and pay taxes for that. That's the worst racism there is, actually. I mean, that's the destruction of our nation and our system. But like to say that somehow like all the DEI would have been ended voluntarily by Kamala Harris, the person who created it, nope. So Trump not perfect, but better in every conceivable way than Kamala Harris. And by the way, you would have also had your wars with Kamala Harris. I'm not arguing that it's a great thing. I want the Iran war to be over. But with Kamala Harris, you probably would have had 10 more wars. Like Taiwan and a war in India and war in Pakistan and everything. Like, that's what would have happened. I mean, you know what would have happened. You see the way that that woman operated. So yeah, not better in any regard. But it's worth covering the news and the TikTok of 2028 because it is around the corner. Midterms happen, and then 2028 starts. Right after the midterms, people will start announcing that they're running for president. Mark my words. That's how it goes. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe.